Welcome back to the KGET Plus Book Club. This month we chose to read the title, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And for those of you who may not have read this yet, here's a quick synopsis. The Let Them Theory is a simple yet powerful practice. Let them means let people say and choose what they want because it shows you exactly who they are. So stop managing, fixing, or chasing. Let that person's behavior reveal the truth. Then let me. Meaning, focus on the only thing you can actually control, yourself, your energy, your boundaries, your healing, and your response. So my voice is going to go in and out this hour. I am not contagious anymore, my friends, which is why we're here. But we've had to delay this poor segment for so long. We just couldn't wait anymore. Heather, this title was your idea to choose, and heading into the holidays, I think it's a fantastic practice. What did you think overall?
Overall, I thought it was pretty good. You know, I went into it thinking this is going to be just another self-help book, but I found Mel Robbins' language to be very relatable. Mm-hmm. She had a lot of examples and a lot of experts that you could really draw on from like real life experience.
Yes, I agree. I also love, I'm an audiobook listener, and she read it herself. Mm-hmm. And so hearing her tone of voice and her emphasis was fantastic. It was very entertaining. Jennifer, what did you think overall?
I honestly loved it. And I think for me, I have a hard time like grasping it from chapter 1, like the first pages in, it just like pulled me in. And I remember, I think it was about like people pleasing. And I was like, whoa, like that just stuck out to me like in a different manner. And I was like, this is such a good book with the end of the year like coming up, you know? So it's like a perfect way to start next year and just like stop wasting your energy on like other people and just like let them, you know? Exactly. It was very good. I really enjoyed it.
I like that a lot. How about you, Sandy? What did you think?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone that watches us. Yeah. Say hi to your mom.
My mom is a big fan.
Your mom that watches, yeah. Thank you so much, as well as everyone that watches our segment. It means a lot to us. Yeah. So I want to start by saying that this book was really, really good. A little different from what we're usually used to, of like drama and you know all this other stuff. This is more of a theory book, obviously, but the concept is very interesting because it does kind of take a weight off your shoulder of realizing, you know, whether you're not really in charge of the situation and of people, but it does heed to say we are responsible of certain things like our temper. I thought that was really, really good. And so we'll discuss it a little bit more, but then because the book had sort of its, like, where's the fine line between saying like, oh yeah, just let it go, like if it's an irresponsible person, they're gonna, you know, you gotta get to work on time, just let it go, you know. It's not about that concept. It's about, so the book dives into a little bit more specificity of where is the moments where you can say, okay, yeah, let it go, but also the moments that you need to take responsibility for your own well-being.
So I also wanted to ask if, since reading this book, you've had any moments of let them. I had one yesterday and I almost called you. So I was shopping at Ross trying to do some bargain hunting. We're going to take family pictures at Christmas. So I needed a black dress and a little denim jacket for each of my 3 girls and myself. 4 outfits. I don't want to spend a lot of money. Like, I'll go to Ross, I'll find something because I haven't done well at the thrift stores already. This woman comes charging up behind me, and they're very tight aisles. It's only you and your cart, and there's no getting by. She comes charging up behind me. Excuse me. And I was so flustered, and I don't like confrontation. I'm a people pleaser. And so I took a deep breath and I thought, let her be angry. I cannot control her. She needs by me. There's no passing me. This is a very small, tight aisle. And so I just politely smiled over my shoulder and said, you can go around. And then I kept looking through the dresses. I had 20 seconds left. There were like 5 dresses to look at. And so I'm like, okay. She comes racing around the other aisle, comes down the aisle, now facing me, and slams her cart into my cart.
You're kidding.
Oh my God.
I thought I was going to get in a fight and have to call security because I was going to fall down. It was so upsetting. And again, in my head, I just thought, okay, let her, whatever she's angry about, she needs these bargain dresses right now. And so I just thought, okay, what can I do in this situation? Let her be angry. Let me get out of the way. But I've always done that. I've always let people walk all over me. And so I just went, okay. And I looked at her and I went, wow. And then I pushed against her to get out of her way and just walked away. It was terrifying. I still don't do well in confrontation, but I think I handled it better than any other time. I let myself be strong. I let her deal with whatever she needed to be dealing with. I was in her way. I was annoying her for 20 seconds. And so I hope that she had a better day after that, but I was proud of myself for standing up for myself. And I think it was the first time in this book's application that it's worked in real life. Have you had any real life moments?
I did, yes. Actually, right after we started reading this book, I was heading up into a difficult family situation with a difficult family member. And I ended up listening to the chapter about dealing with difficult people on my way to this situation. And it really, like, you know, it also talks about managing your emotions and that kind of stuff. And it really helped me to like take a step back and be like, okay, whatever is going on with that family member, like they've got, like, we're all dealing with a lot, but like, I'm gonna let them do
Their thing.
their thing, handle it their way, and I am going to, you know, handle myself. I'm going to take myself out of that situation when I can, and it made it a lot more peaceful
Good.
process.
Do you think it was more peaceful for that person as well, not feeling any tension from you because you were just letting it go?
Oh, we are a clash of personalities, so yes.
So it helped, and I assume this was Thanksgiving time, and
Yeah, that
holidays
helped.
can already be stressful. Yeah. How about you? Have you applied this at all in real life?
Oh, all the time. I definitely have it in the back of my mind whenever I am driving. I think that's something like when someone just gets in the way, I'm like, Jennifer, just let them, you know, like they're probably having a stressful day. They're probably, you never know what someone is going through. Like you never know what's in their mind. So it's just like, again, like I'm not going to waste that energy into something that I can't control, you know, or someone that I can't control. So it's like up to them and just let them.
Just let them. And then how about you, Sandy? Any real life applications?
Yeah, same thing as far as driving, especially from where I leave from my house. I have to pass by a school. So a lot of people go on the lane that's for going straight, and they will literally just stop in the middle of the lane waiting for the other side to be empty so they could do this U-turn and park right in front of the school. But I mean, it's
It
all of
blocks
us.
traffic.
Exactly, and it's every single morning, and it's just like, it's one of those where, yes, I have been in my car and literally screamed, let them, you know, like, so yes, it's very, you know, unlike the other reads that is like, you know, you get into their story, their life. This book actually got into my life, you know. It went the other way around than what we're usually used to, and able to apply it, you know. So it was, yes, that happens, and it'll probably happen tomorrow morning too, but it's the good thing
let
about
them block the
just
road.
let them.
So it sounds easier than it is, and Mel goes into great detail, but we also wanted to dig deeper into the mentality of this and the psychology. Coming up after the break, we'll hear from local expert Dr. Corey on this. Welcome back to the KGET Plus Book Club. So recently I spoke with local clinical psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez to see what he thinks about the let them theory and its applications to our everyday life, especially heading into the holidays. Here's his expert insight. I'm not really one for a self-help genre, but I think when you have somebody who just says, don't worry about the drama, don't worry about gossip, I think that's advice we can all use.
People get so stressed out by other people's behavior and they have no control over it.
It's true.
So it's really important we have an internal locus of control. And we have to see things for how they are. We have to see people for who they are, not what we want them to be. So let them, meaning let them paint the canvas of who they are without us interfering. And it's informative, and we can see them for who they are. And actually, Carl Rogers, one of the great psychologists in our history, talked about when you create, if you really want to change somebody, create an environment where there's unconditional positive regard, non-judgmental, and they'll see who they are, and they'll make the change. So trying to get people to control people doesn't necessarily work with most people.
It's very true. And I like that she mentions in this book, it can be lonely if you're constantly just being like, oh, let them go do their thing, and you're just constantly brushing people off. She said that's not the intention. Don't isolate yourself, but rather if someone has a very strong political opinion, okay, let them believe that. Then let me. Be reflective on yourself. Think, I don't believe that, and I don't want to believe that, and I don't want to live in a world where that exists, so I'm going to go change the world for the better in another way without confronting my friend. Do you think that's healthy?
Yes, I do, because I think when you know, if you focus on what you have control over, you're in a much better place. And you express yourself appropriately. You decide what you want to emphasize, where you want to be, where your boundaries are, and you express yourself appropriately. That's what you have control over. And so, yeah, it's a much better place to do that and not try to change people, but model for people how to express yourself appropriately. And it's one of the most important things we can do is focus on what we have control over, being present and having gratitude. What are three of the most important things? So I think she said some really important points on this. And the serenity prayer, remember?
Yes.
The courage to change the things we can. The serenity of letting things go we can't, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two is really important knowledge for people with their mental health.
I think it is indeed. And we're out of time, but I wanted to ask you quickly as well. We chose this book because heading into the holidays, sometimes we see that difficult family member we only see once a year. Is this a good time during those difficult discussions that come up to just go, let them believe what they want to believe?
Yeah, and you can empathize with people and say, you know what, it sounds like you feel strongly like that about this topic or this, taboo topic. Perhaps we talk more about that after dinner.
There you go.
Yeah.
Divert.
And
Don't pay attention.
Don't let them push their buttons.
Yes.
Shrink your buttons. Have them in check before you get to the dinner table so that you can be your best version of yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful. On that, we'll call it a day. Thank you so much, Dr. Corey, and happy birthday to your wife.
Thank you. And
We'll be right back. That was such a great segment. I always really look forward to his insight. But, over the holidays, especially, people talk politics, and it's a hot button issue for many of us. So just let them believe what they want to believe. Just let's talk about that after dinner. Let's divert this conversation. I do think it's important to speak up, though, when someone in your life, especially around a young, impressionable child, is saying something that is racist or sexist. That's when I'm not going to say, oh, just let you believe that. I will speak up and say that is not acceptable and my daughters don't need to be hearing that. When are other times you think it's more important to not just say, well, let them think that? When do you think you should interrupt and really become confrontational?
In the same aspect as when there's injustices, when there's, the book does talk about that, you can't control people's thoughts, you can't control what you can't control are boundaries.
Yes.
That's what the book says. And so it's like, you do have to establish these boundaries. And for example, something that I think happens a lot during the holidays, and I'm so glad I get a means to be able to perhaps, give advice, but there's a lot of the older generation that starts asking all these questions to the young ones, like, well, what job do you have? Or when are you getting married? And it's like, it's perhaps not the best time. And a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff. And as well as the other generation, they're so sick of these questions during the holidays that they're just like, blah, and they just like don't even want to be in the household, don't even want to celebrate together. So how about those moments and those times, maybe if there wants to be side talks about politics, that's great, but nothing that hinders the moment and the whole purpose of being together, for example, during the holidays. And so then to have, so if there's the older generation, maybe give them a call throughout the week and ask them, hey, how are things going? Any plans of getting married? But not like during the holiday, because I know that's like a big pet peeve for a lot of people. And so these conversations that can be had another time, but definitely having to set boundaries is something that needs to be done, throughout the whole year. Especially when there's injustices, that's when I would think would be a very good time to speak up, or when you see a fellow co-worker, a friend, or a family member being abused in a way, saying something, and I just, well, let them, or sometimes there's those family members who are like, I'm sorry, but you haven't, you gotta stand up for yourself. So in a healthy way, things can be said, things can be done.
Yeah, I love that word boundaries. Yes, that was very clear. And, people will say, oh, that's a woke phrase. I don't care. I am protecting myself and my mental health and my children. Speaking of children, there is a free companion guide online for this. You can get it on Mel Robbins' website. And it's about parenting with the let them theory. One of her first stories is about how her son didn't have a boutonniere for the senior prom, and she's trying to save the day, and she's like, okay, here's a boutonniere, and I got your date at corsage. She's like, Mom, stop. And her older daughter's like, just let them figure it out. As a parent, I can't. I understand I can't control my teenager, but I also can't let you show up empty-handed and ruin your date's life. Ruin your date's night, not her life. As a parent, Heather, do you think this companion guide is helpful for applying a let your kids be late, let your kids be irresponsible, but also guide them in the correct way?
Yeah, I love that chapter actually, because it's actually how she came about the let them theory.
Yes.
And in that story, she gets the corsage, and it's a disaster because really she needed to listen to her son. His date made her own. But when it comes to the let them theory and parenting, Mel Robbins brings up a lot of great points. You can't just let your child do whatever. It's your job to make sure that they have everything they need, that they're learning how to be good people. so it goes back to boundaries, like what Sandy said, and choosing the moments when you're going to engage and say, no, I'm sorry, let me step in.
I really like that. And then finally, Jennifer, we wanted to ask if you've noticed anything within your life improving, because you said you've been applying this a lot. Have you noticed you feel more peaceful? Have you noticed friendships growing? What have been the effects now?
I honestly feel like more at peace with it, because I remember just like having that burden of like, oh my gosh, you know? So just like letting them and just letting people do their own thing and has definitely like taken off that burden of like, and wasting the energy, you know, on someone when you could just like let them and just like let them do their own thing. Yeah. However, I was kind of like skeptical, like iffy of that part where she, like the parenting part. And I'm not a mom yet. And I was like, how is that going to apply, like letting your children, you know? And I think that was something that caught my attention of like, how are parents just supposed to let their kids do whatever they want, you know? So I'm so grateful that you brought that.
Yes.
Because that looks very beneficial, and I'm definitely going to consider that and adding it to my library.
Your reading
in the
list.
future.
I've referenced it several times. You can start to see it's getting a little worn. But again, this is a free companion guide. Also on her website, we had so much fun talking, we didn't get to any of her questions. But Mel Robbins has book club question prompts. So if you are reading along with us, sit down with your friends, look through those prompts, have those discussions. It's fascinating. It can be a little frustrating in real world application. But I think in the end, even though none of us are really self-help book people, this helped myself feel better about the holidays, and I love that. We're going to take one more break, and then after that, we'll come back with our ratings and some book news. So now that we've had an overall viewing of the book and discussed several of the finer points, we wanted to give a rating out of 5 stars. Sandy, what's your rating?
I think I'm going to go to 4 out of 5 because the book does assume this emotional maturity in order to apply this theory, and I'm afraid that in the wrong hands it could go very wrong. And so I mean, I loved everything else as far as the explanations, the examples, and just the theory itself is very uplifting and gives you a sense of having less weight, less anxiety, less just stress. So that part is amazing to apply. But definitely in the wrong hands, I think that if given to a person who's immature, would be careless about stuff. And so, I don't know. I'm going to get it a 4 out of 5.
A 4 out of 5 or a 4.25?
Out of 5 stars, 4 stars.
That's perfect. That's okay. So I'm the same. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Again, I listened to the audiobook. So each time I was in the car, especially on a frustrating day, I was like, I should turn on that book again. But I'm not giving it 5 stars because I didn't look forward to sitting down with it. It's not something that I couldn't wait to have in my hands, and one more chapter. That gets a 5 star out of me, that kind of fanatical reading. I thought it helped me. I think it'll help my kids. But there's also a lot of stuff where I was like, that sounds great in theory, but it's not really applying. And again, that's why she calls it the let them theory. And she does say it's going to take work. How about you, Heather?
I also agree with you guys. 4 out of 5. My biggest takeaway was the emotion part, where she said most people have the emotional intelligence of an 8-year-old, and I was like, wow. And so one part of it is, you know, you have to let the emotion happen, and you got to sit with that. So that was a big takeaway for me, but I also kind of took it on like a chore.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Jennifer? Your rating?
Yeah, I would give it a 4 out of 5 because again, I think right off the bat, it was such an easy read, you know, which I think is a challenge for most books that I read. I'm like, whoa, like I'm not enjoying this. So I stop after the first page. And so definitely like, as I was reading this, I was like, oh, okay. I actually heard it on an audiobook too. And I think that was more of like easier for me to like grasp. And that being said, I would give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. All right. And now for some book news. There are several headlines that avid readers would like to hear. Heather, we'll start with you because you found so many of these very fun headlines.
Yeah, so Wicked fans are going to love this story. There's a new novel in the works about one of the main characters in the movie. Gregory Maguire, the author of the novel that inspired the Broadway hit, which then became a silver screen blockbuster, is returning to the land of Oz with a prequel novel titled Galinda, A Charmed Childhood. The book will explore the young life of a character who would go on to become the Good Witch. The book is set to be released next September. Very much looking forward to this. I have listened to the audiobooks all the way up to Elfie, which is the last one in the installment. There's like 4 of them. And I'm so excited.
And it was interesting talking to our entertainment expert, Rick Bentley. I didn't realize there are dozens and dozens of Oz books. This is just one of those branches.
Yeah. So Gregory Maguire's books are inspired by the Oz books that were from, I think, like the 1930s. That's not exact date, but yeah. So he went and reimagined that. So Wicked is based in that first book and a little bit in the second book, which is called Son of a Witch.
Okay, that's a great title. Great title. And then Sandy, I'm going to give this one to you.
Yes, of course, a rare copy of the version first issue of the Superman comics. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. I love Superman. Just broke records in the auction house. It sold for over $9 million this month, and that takes it to the most expensive comic book ever. 3 brothers discovered the book sitting in a box in the attic of their mother's in San Francisco home, along with other valuable comics dating back to World War II. Superman #1 was released all the way back from 1939. Wow. But remarkably, the cool San Francisco climate helped preserve this book decades and living it in the minor sign of weird.
No minor signs of wear. Sorry, our prompter is cutting off a little bit, so it's hard to read.
That is awesome.
$9 million for a comic book. That's fascinating.
It probably sold for a dime.
Right?
Back then, yeah. Yeah, that was
amazing.
Yeah, love that.
All right, and one more headline for you, Heather.
Okay, so since Christmas is right around the corner, we wanted to give a KGET book club gift guide for the readers in your life. Yes. So what are you ladies recommending, Elena?
So you know that I'm an audiobook listener, so I wanted to have something that I could bring to you to physically see, and I have 2. So I'll start with this one, The Day the Crayons Quit. We so often read these big books. This is one of my favorite books to read with my kids. It's a young boy named Duncan, and all of his crayons have had enough. The blue is very tired of having to draw all of the big oceans. Beige does not like to have to color wheat. And each one is written in a different handwriting, different personalities. And so I come up with all of these different voices for my children. It cracks them up no matter, I've read this probably 100 times. It delights them, it's fun, and there's a whole series of these crayon books. So this is my gift to you and your daughter.
Thank you.
I have my own copy at home, so you get the new one.
Oh, she's gonna love it.
And then also I wanna recommend that you go to local bookshops and look for local authors. This is a story about Indy, the dog, and the mighty Kern River. You get this at Russo's Books, other local bookstores, but you're supporting local authors and giving your child or someone across the country a little taste of Bakersfield. And so I think that's fantastic. Again, another gift for your little one.
Thank you.
That is so sweet.
What is your recommendation for a book gift?
One of my recommendations was, and it's skipping me the name of it, but it was a psychological thriller. I don't know if you girls remember the name of it.
We can take the VO. It's No Lies?
No Lies? Yes, something like that. No Lies, yes. It is very good. There you go.
Oh, Never
Thank
Lie.
you so much. Never Lie. Yes, that's the one. It's a really, really good one, and it has to do with knowing yourself and knowing what are the potentials that you have within. So I would definitely recommend this one. This is an all-year reading. You could read it any time of the year. Also could be applicable to any season in life. So it's a pretty good one. I would definitely recommend this one, but it's one of those books where once you pick it up, you can't put it down. But that's a psychological thriller. I would suggest that one. It's
That's
really
a good one.
Mm-hmm.
What is your suggestion for a gift guide?
So I'm bringing back the classics.
Yay.
So all 6 of Jane Austen's novels are in one book. Honestly, I think the title and everything about it, the design
It's
is
beautiful.
what brought me in. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have this for my collection. And I'll probably gift one to one of my best friends because she loves Jane Austen, especially Pride and Prejudice, which is an iconic movie. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
I have to read that again. So I definitely would give this as a gift guide. Not only is it gorgeous and pretty and it's leather, so I'm obsessed with how this looks. So I definitely would give this to someone. And I probably will, to be honest.
This is fantastic. I love having that on your shelf, but also the gift of the classics is perfect.
Yeah.
Heather, what's your recommendation?
So I had a hard time nailing it down. So this is at the top of my list. Why not give a book of the month subscription?
Ooh,
so
that's
there is this subscription service is called Book of the Month, and each month members get to select from thousands of titles carefully curated by the Book of the Month editorial team. That includes timeless classics and present favorites. And you get to choose between hardcovers and audiobooks.
Ooh.
If you're giving this as a gift, you can choose between 3 books, 6 book, or 12 book memberships. Those are all available. If we can bring up that graphic, there's a QR code that you can scan to
There it is.
to sign up, and it comes with a free hat.
Oh, fun.
So members just have to redeem that gift membership by February 28th, and you get that free hat. And I think it's really great. So I want that.
That is so cute and fun. And with that, we're out of time, but we will hope that you'll join us next month. We're reading The Names by Florence Knapp.